Alrighty, folks, we are continuing that series of talking to new real estate investors, people who've been doing this a year to 5 years. We find out who they are, what are they doing, what's going on, and now we have Josh. How you doing, Josh?
Good. Nice to be on the show.
Awesome, buddy. Well, do us a favor, introduce yourself to the audience. What do you do? Where you at? Where you invest? All of that stuff, and we'll get going.
Okay. So my name is Josh Martin, and my wife and I, her name's Mary. We got into this real estate investing journey, and we're both, 9 to 5ers. I am a merchandiser with Pepsi. My wife was working with Whole Foods, and now she's moved on to a different company in sales. We're in Washington right now, thanks to Dion. Um,
Nice.
but I'm 49 and I'm starting the journey a bit late. And we actually started in California. We were in Monterey and we moved up here to start the journey in real estate investing.
All right, so I want to poke at that a little bit. So you were living in Monterey, you were renting, I'm guessing, based on
Yep.
that, and you got excited in real estate investing. It sounds like Dion. Did Dion help you find the property, or did he just get you excited about the area? Talk about that.
Okay, so basically it started when we were in Monterey. We originally we go by the name REI Stoners, and it
Okay.
started because we were growing and manufacturing, and eventually we got arrested, and we needed to start thinking of something new. So we both got into regular.
Yeah, being arrested is bad. That's a bad
Yeah,
outcome.
yeah, very, very bad. So we didn't want to, get back into that. So my wife got a regular 9 to 5. I got a 9 to 5 in a lab doing legal cannabis. And, from there, we both just, we're figuring out how do we get by or, do better in life than just working our 9 to 5.
Right.
And I was looking at YouTube videos and found something, a little clip on Robert Kiyosaki and, kind of read the Rich Dad Poor Dad or audiobook of it, got on Bigger Pockets, heard you were the first.
Yes.
And, then I heard Dion. Well, when I heard Dion, it just seemed like he was giving all the information. And I was like, wow, this guy's giving all this free information out there. And he seems like the up and up. He's a military guy. He's a cop. So I had some trust there. But what happened was we wanted to move from California. I heard that you were where you were, and we just really didn't want to be in California anymore as it was expensive. And my
Good.
wife, as far as transferring, would have been better to come to Washington.
Okay.
So, we looked around, we heard that Dion was up here and all the, great work he was doing. So basically, we kept hearing boots on the ground. And so
Boots
that's
on the
what
ground.
Dion was. I used him as boots on the ground, and he was more than helpful to, show us the path. And I think the biggest
Wow.
part with Dion, we actually drove up here in January. Uh, Actually, this was, we started figuring out the real estate thing in September, paid off all our debt immediately, and we had about 4,000. Hooked up with Dion, came up here and met with him and had lunch, and that was it. Like, he was the boots on the ground, and he was able to show us or tell us, these are the areas you probably don't want to invest in. These are good in areas, because when you don't know an area, there's a lot of studying. Like you guys say, it takes months
Yeah.
of studying.
Yeah.
So, we were doing that. We were studying, but there's nothing like boots on the ground to actually tell you.
Yeah.
And him being a cop, that was just gold right there for us.
Yeah.
So that's how
Dion,
Dion came into the picture.
that's awesome. Yeah, Dion is so awesome. And I want to give you kudos. I mean, Dion, Matt, Mike, all of us. There's a lot of people that, hey, I'll buy you coffee, I'll buy you lunch, that kind of talk track. And I don't know, over the last 20 years, I've probably done it 100 times, probably more, but let's say 100. Less than five of those people actually ever did anything. It's why
Wow.
I almost never do them anymore. So the fact that you took action, that's what I'm getting for all the new investor interviews. I think, Josh, I think you're number 9 for me in the last 7 days. And what I'm getting from all these discussions is two things. One, you're action takers. You take advice, you consume, but you do something with it. You're not just sitting behind the computer listening for 1,000 hours and doing nothing. But second, you're making sacrifices, right? I can't tell you how many people poo-poo the idea of, hey, we're going to move. We're going to move. We're going to leave Monterey, California and go to Washington and house hack a duplex. There's a lot of people that look at that and going, we're not doing that. I'm not leaving the big home. I'm not leaving this. I'm not leaving that. And you guys looked at it as like, not only am I not doing that, we have to do that. It's just a
Exactly.
totally different mindset.
Yeah, and I mean, just moving to Washington, we were saving like $6,000 a year. We figured out in rent and bills and all that. We kind of calculated it all out, and I'm like, hey, an extra $6,000 is going to help us out tremendously.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it doesn't
you know,
suck. An extra $500 a
right?
month. That doesn't
And like
suck.
we always hear you talking about, living under your means, and so that's what we did. We paid off all our debt, and we because we were still investing in stocks. We didn't really know what we were doing with our money. We had some money in stocks, we had some money saved for emergencies, and then we had debt. And once we heard about the debt, we just paid it all off and got rid of it.
Nice,
And
nice.
then we started saving about 40% of our income, and we had to. We knew that we needed to do better, and I just told her, where are all the spots that we're spending money on? We're going out. Back then we were drinking. We weren't drinking then. We were smoking a little more than we should have been, so we cut that down. Anything that we could, we cut down, and we started realizing that we were saving about $3,000 a month just from our paychecks. And that was, it was tremendous. We were like, after so long, I was able to write on our milestone board that we already saved 10 grand, and then it hit 20 and 30. And I'm like, oh, great.
This is what it takes, folks. Get the goals, make the choices. Again, as I have more of these conversations, I want people to realize when Olivia and I were sacrificing and living on half our income, I guarantee you our friends were talking shit behind our back.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter. Now they ain't talking now when they see what we're doing. But it's okay, folks. You can get there. The day job is the key for so many people. I hate this idea that the day job is the trap. Work 40 hours for 40 years to live on 40%. It doesn't have to be that way. If you make a couple of tough choices, you make some sacrifices, you stack dry powder, you can make some big moves.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. So tell us about you're actually in the duplex right now, the one that you purchased. So tell
Yep.
us about it.
All right. So we were looking around, just since I want to say 2021, at the end of 2021. And then we moved up here at the beginning of 2022. And then basically I just kept doing my homework every single day. I'd come home from 12-hour days because I was being a merchandiser with a company that was giving us a lot of overtime. So I'd come home after all that time and then spend another couple hours just running numbers. And that was the key to finding you. I didn't even know how to run numbers until I found you and I got into your course. And I was, once I actually ran the numbers, I'm like, oh, great. Now I actually know how to get a yield on a property.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
that was one of the big keys for me, is doing that. Once I was able to do that and run the numbers every single day, it was really beneficial for us. And then I ran them every which way, like you said, 8 different ways. What if I bought down the rate? What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I did this? What if I did that? And, I even would call my agent and be like, hey, can we do this? And he'd be like, maybe not. And then I'd come up with another idea and he'd kind of give me the same thing. And, it was, a little, with the agent, it was a little back and forth, I guess I'd have to say, because there was a lot of stuff I didn't know that I was supposed to do or not supposed to do. Sure. And, he kind of reined me in here and there.
It's okay. You took your shots. You just kept moving forward. Yeah, keep going.
And so basically I knew my buy box. We were looking for 2 1s. We qualified for $500,000, so we knew that's what we were looking for. And one day I was at work and an email popped up. I looked at it and it was a 3-1 for $500,000, or it was $495. And I was like, wait, what? This is a 3-1? So I looked at it. I called my agent and they had like an open house that weekend. So I went over to the open house, heard a couple of people talking. There was construction in the back. It's already built, but it's new construction, a bunch of apartment buildings. And I heard the people talking about how they didn't like that. For me, I assumed that it was going to help the rents go up around here. So for me, as not buying this place as just my own and to rent it out, I thought it was great. So, we went forward with it. One of the things I wanted to do was buy the rate down, because the rate for us was 7.25 at the time. Okay. And That wasn't making sense, but 6 was making sense. Now, I basically told my lender, hey, how do I get us down to 6? And he
Okay.
said, well, you'd have to buy the rate down. It'd cost you about $13,000.
Okay.
And so then I started crunching those numbers. How much is that extra a month for me? And then the big takeaway was Dion saying, well, you're not the one paying for it. Your tenants are paying for it over time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm just going to
Yeah.
buy the rate down to where I need it, where it makes sense. And then
Mhm.
eventually they'll buy it down.
Yeah.
And, I also looked at the HUD.gov, so I knew what my rents in the area were. And that was it. That was enough to make me pull the trigger. The big problem was the renovation. One side
Mhm.
needed major renovation, and we didn't even know how to calculate that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you
So
you bought a unit that so did you move into the unit that was done and then you remodeled the other one? Is that how it worked?
no, so what happened was we had 2 tenants in, and we
Okay.
bought it thinking that we were just going to stay in our condo that we were renting and
Okay.
just renovate that one unit. And so what happened was, as soon as we took over the property in July, and actually before that, just to step back a second, I actually had some contractors come by and give me some estimates on what the work was going to cost and all that. And so we were able to negotiate down like $5,000 extra on work that needed to be done. And then the appraiser came and said that the seller had to actually take care of a bunch of stuff himself if the deal would go through. Then two
Ah.
weeks passed, and we thought it was just not going to happen. The seller doesn't want to take care of it. We're going to be screwed. And no, the seller ended up paying for all the other stuff. And so we ended up, and then he kicked in an extra 3,000 to buy the rate down,
Oh,
which was
nice.
great. Yeah, so we were able to get quite a good deal. We ended up putting down $18,250 for all closing costs and everything. I mean, just out of pocket for us,
Okay.
and everything that he helped paid everything else. And we ended up getting the rate to 5.75 because during this, my lender was like, "Hey, the rate went down a little bit. Do you
Yeah.
want that money back in your pocket, or do you want to go down to 5.75?" And I'm like, "Oh, 5.75. Let's get that rate
Yeah.
down low."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I did. I was, again, a lot of this was still unclear to me. It was just me talking to my lender, talking to my agent, talking to Dion. Hey, is this something
Yeah.
I should possibly do? And just checking everything before I did it. And we ended up getting the deal to go. And then what we did was we gave them notice to move out. The people that were in the really bad side, they moved out, no problem. We started getting renovation underway. And then we didn't want to stay in the condo. So we started thinking, well, maybe we'll just move into it while there's construction. It's going to be tough, but maybe we could do it. And then once the end of the month came, the tenant next door gave us a month's notice and said they were
Ah.
moving. And so we were like, oh, okay, well, that solves it. Let's just move in over there. We'll get the construction over here. We'll give
Ah.
them a
Yeah.
month's notice and we're good to go.
There you
And so
go.
everything just fell into place for us for
Ah,
some reason.
good karma pays off. Good karma pays off. So
Yep.
talk about the remodel. What did that end up? Is it done? Is the unit
Yes.
done?
Yep, it finished November 1st, and so we've been paying the mortgage ourselves, which is fine because we can afford it.
Mhm.
And yeah, we ended up putting in about probably about 25,000 total.
Oh, wow.
And
So a lot of stuff had to be done.
yeah, a lot of stuff. We ended up getting countertops, new sink, new LVP flooring in the kitchen, bathroom. I did some stuff myself. I painted the entire unit, but again, bought all the paint and everything and the supplies. I did the epoxy countertop in the bathroom. I had a new
Nice.
shower put in.
Wow.
The shower was really bad. It was a tub that was rotting away from kids splashing and stuff. So I just had a shower put in so I don't have to deal with that ever again.
Yeah. Smart. I've done that. Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty much, we got all that done. We got the hardwood floors refinished or rescreened and re
Mhm.
varnished and stuff. So yeah, all that work, it looks really good now. And I just, now I know we can actually get the rents. We've had quite a few people, you know, send in applications, but nobody's really qualifying for our criteria right now. So,
Okay.
we got about 660 is what we're looking for.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 2.5 times the rent. We didn't have it at 700 for a while, and so we moved it down a little bit as advice from Dion. And
Mhm.
again, people just still aren't hitting that criteria, and we're not going to budge. We're just going to wait till we find
Yeah.
somebody that's a good tenant,
Yeah.
and we're
Don't budge. Don't budge. You have your
yeah.
criteria, stick to your criteria. I am curious if you've checked the Section 8 website or housing. I'm not sure what they call it in Washington.
Yep.
Um, what the Section 8 limit, what would be, do you know the Section 8 limit on that configuration?
Yeah, it would be 2531 is what they would be paying.
The
So
max. Okay.
yeah, the max. And so, I ended up taking the lumberjacks course as soon as we bought the house because I didn't want to spend money during,
Yeah.
the closing.
Yeah.
And, he had a bunch of good stuff in there. And so one of the things that I'm in the process of, I haven't done it yet, but I need to call Section 8 housing to see if I can get an inspection done, just so I can maybe have it
Yeah.
on my, my
Yeah. Checklist or whatever. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
Zillow, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what are you asking for rent?
We're asking 23 right now.
Yeah. So and it's been rented or it's been advertised for 6 weeks. You said November 1st.
Yeah, since no, yeah, since November 1st.
Yeah. That's a long time in my experience. Again, I don't know Washington at all. I would probably, or maybe talk to Dion since Dion's in the area. I would ping Dion and say, should I go to section? I would tell Section 8 you have a unit available. I hear the list of applicants is long.
Yeah.
You might want to reach out and see, because I would like, if I got to tell you, man, if something's not rented for me in 2 weeks, I start screaming. I start yelling at people.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. I think I go to investor meetups and I've been talking to people around the area and they're telling me, yeah, November, December are kind of bad
Soft.
months.
Yeah.
You're kind of picked a bad time to throw it out there, but everybody
Yeah.
keeps telling me, yeah, January's going to come around and everybody will start,
Yeah.
coming in. So
Yeah.
again, yeah, I understand. I'm just I told my wife, as long as we could pay the mortgage, we could pay all our bills and still save money.
Yeah.
I'm fine with waiting till we get the perfect tenant.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So let's assume you get a perfect tenant. Let's say they pay 2,300. What are your living expenses going to be in the what's your monthly nut in the house or the duplex?
So then we're only going to be paying $1,200 a month for rent ourselves, and right. So that's going to be great for a 3-1. And
Yeah.
then I told my wife, I'm all, the next time we do this again, I'm all, hopefully we can get the rent half again, or maybe even
Yeah.
nothing by that point.
Yeah. I mean, Dion is showing the way. And I know you said you started late, but I want you to, I mean, Dion's the man to follow, right? You get to 12, 14 units, you could be done. And I
Yeah.
think you get there a lot sooner than you expect.
Yeah, and then that's why I'm trying to take as much advice from him. But I'm also trying to do my own thing. So I take your advice, the lumberjacks, Millennial Mike, and I
Smash
try
them all
to
together.
exactly, because I wouldn't mind investing with Mike out in Gary. I wouldn't mind trying to do something, a seller finance deal. I wouldn't mind recycling my capital if I get, something going
Mhm.
here,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
something I know Dion does. But, again, I started a little later, so I want to maybe shift gears a little quicker.
Yeah, no, I think the four people you listed, obviously, I know them all really well. Take the parts you like, leave the ones you don't. I think those four people put together is a pretty rock star investor. So it's pretty cool. So where do you think you go from here? Right, you're into this. You know it works. You're going to tenant very quickly. You're paying. I mean, what were you paying in Monterey for rent? I'm just curious.
We were paying a little over like $2,050. We were
All
paying
right.
for basically a 2-1 trailer.
Ah, 2-1 trailer. Now you're in a 3-1, and you're going to be paying $1,200 once the tenant's in place. House hacking
Exactly.
works, folks. House hacking works.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing. But where do you go from here? What do you house hack again? What are you thinking?
Yep. Exactly. The wife is fine with house hacking. I know she doesn't want to keep doing it, but it is something that she understands is going to help us get ahead quicker. So, if we can
Yeah.
find a triplex, a fourplex, and house hack that, and just keep going from there.
Yeah. Do a
Yeah,
couple more. Yeah.
yep, that's our goal right there.
Yeah. Um, what do you like? When do you think you'll be ready to do the next one? I mean, like, are you ready now? You need 6 months. So I mean, just curious when you map it out.
So I take your advice and I do my homework still. But
Yes.
like Dion says, sometimes I'm afraid that I'm going to find something that works and I have no money right now, or I'm trying to stabilize this unit. So I'm really trying to stabilize right now, get a
Yep.
tenant in, understand how this relationship works.
Yeah.
Also do some more remodeling in our unit as we're going,
Okay.
because that's something that I'd really like to do.
Yeah.
And then from there, keep our savings going. Because once we get a tenant in, with the amount of rent, we're going to be saving a lot more, and we'll be able to
Bam,
get
bam,
something
bam.
quicker. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me be clear. I mean, if you've watched some of the other new real estate investors, some folks go too fast. What I would tell you is once you get a tenant in, hey, let it run for 6 months. Make sure you're cool with it, right? You're not really a landlord yet. You have a vacant unit. So it's okay. Like See how it works. Keep stacking paper, but never, ever, ever, ever stop looking. You don't
Yep.
want to repeat that learning cycle.
Yeah, and I've done that before. There was a time when I was getting a bit frustrated and I stopped for a little bit because I just kind of felt, oh, there's nothing on the market right now. Nothing seems to be coming in. And I stopped for like a week. And then I
Mhm.
got back on after a week and I started realizing, oh, I forgot where this tab, how do I get that information again?
Ah,
So you really need to just do it every single day.
I totally agree. What advice do you have somebody who's maybe sitting in a rental somewhere? They're thinking about real estate, they're excited, but they don't know what to do. What are some recommendations you have?
For me, it was different, like I came from, growing in my own house and doing some risky stuff. So I'm a risk taker, obviously. And some people might not be, but I mean, really, you got to just get up and do stuff, It's like the Nike slogan, just do it, really. You can't sit there. You could sit there and do as much homework as you can, but I mean, that's not going to do you any good until you actually start throwing money out there and you start making offers and I mean, that's what I would say. And even if you're already in a duplex and you have it, I mean, learn what you're doing because that's where I feel scared sometimes because I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then I'll watch Matt's course again and I'll be like, oh, I forgot to do that. I need to do that because
Yeah.
I might screw myself.
Yeah, he is definitely the hands-on guy, the guy that's, people are playing the game. Lumberjack is amazing in what he's done. The blank, I'm a landlord now is a great course. Um,
Yeah.
what's kind of closing advice you have for folks that are going to watch this and see what you're doing and take action? What's some closing advice?
I would say definitely just save your money. Try not to go out, try to live below your means. Listen to what Michael says. He knows what he's talking about. Living below your means is going to get you there a lot quicker. And again, you might be able to have fun right there in the moment, but what about your future? What about retiring earlier? What about stuff like that? And then you can have your cocktails and your cruises and stuff. So it just takes a little bit of sacrifice at the beginning. So the
Yeah.
sacrifice.
Yeah, I love that. Sacrifice is not a four-letter word. No matter how you spell it, it is not a four-letter word. It's been such a key to all the new real estate investors that the stories I've been hearing. It warms my heart because I know how hard it is. I know it's
It
difficult.
is.
I know what it's like to have people make fun of you. I don't care. I'm on the other side of it, so I know it works and I can ball out now and do all these crazy things. But it's only because we sacrificed for 15 years. 15 years
Yeah.
before we went crazy.
And I mean,
Um,
we realized, like you just said, those people that were making fun of us weren't really our friends. The people that
no.
I want to be my friends are going to be like me. So that's why I'm going to investor meetups and I'm meeting people there. And those people are becoming my everyday friends that I chat with, and just kind of leave the other people behind because it's not the same goals.
Yeah, you got to audit your network. It's such a big
Yep.
deal. You got to audit your network, change people out. I've changed my network 3 or 4 times in 20 years. It's such
Yep.
a underappreciated thing. Well, Josh, it's been amazing following you. Where can people follow you? I know you have an Instagram page, but maybe some other stuff.
Yeah, I have an Instagram page. It's REI Stoners and also a YouTube and
Hmm,
Facebook channel also under REI Stoners. And my wife, she goes under Seizure Free on THC on the same channels. So,
very cool. Well, Josh, thank you. And Mary, right? Mary's her name.
yep.
Josh, Mary, thank you for being here. Thank you for telling your story. It's been so amazing. REI Stoners, go give them a follow. Later.
Thank you.